minutes on the LA.
Freaking unbelievable.
On the,
Then again, you know somebody in the
Train,
governor's
yeah,
of
office.
course.
yeah, okay, it's fine. You can tell him,
Maybe she can whisper in somebody's ear.
yeah, it's not bad at all, actually.
Okay, so we're rolling. Yeah, we're rolling. There we go.
I'm fully here. I would like to fully be here. Actor, you make sure they don't come looking for me.
Anyone knows how to hide?
This is what you have to deal with every time.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going easy on him today.
Yeah.
Try to get through it to
In honor of the good job, we're gonna take it easy.
Do you have,
Yeah.
So I got a question.
Yes.
Who runs this?
Who runs the Staten Island Railway? Transit.
It is transit, that's what I thought.
New York City Transit,
Yeah, the
yes.
guy looked at it, oh, it's empty. It's
New York City New York City Transit runs it.
Not accessible.
The city owns it.
not accessible. The
Uh,
system is not accessible.
It's not fully accessible. There are a couple of accessible stations. That's, no, I mean, I agree, it's not, it's, you know, you got Arthur Kill, you got a few others along the way.
I counted the steps 43 down to gravel. All right, I'm gonna interrupt you guys, so I won't get started.
Yeah, I know,
Hopefully
sorry.
Larry's gonna call in, right?
Yeah, Larry said he was
Calls
gonna
in,
call
calls
in.
in. Not even, not even really cool.
Yeah, we need a fifth person to make it fit.
We don't know what's going on.
So everyone's got my chair's report. They sent it out.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it.
Well, if any questions, if you have any
I
questions.
got a copy, but if you want to take it home and use a magnifier, yeah, it's on,
We're gonna-
you should have it in your
We're gonna zip
email.
through today, 'cause we'll-
You should have it in your email.
So take a look at the report, if you have any questions. Any questions, let me know. You wanna do a quick board report, Tyler?
Sure, yeah. There was not a whole lot, probably the most interest, there's two things were the most interesting. One, the president's report. Pat gave a report on basically how the summer of hell went. Essentially what he said is that they were able to manage manage because the traffic at Penn Station went down pretty considerably. 13% decrease in the AM, 8% decrease in the PM peak, which allowed them to handle the numbers of people with fewer tracks and fewer trains. There's corresponding increase at the other stations, Atlantic and Hunters
Well,
Point.
as our position is, that's because riders were told, listen to the instructions they were given.
Yeah, and
Avoid that station and do those things.
yeah, and they got the message, and they got the message out, and people complied with what the railroad wanted them to do, and it worked out well for everybody. One good piece of news is they think the expenses are going to be a little bit lower than what they anticipated in July. They put in the July financial plan, so it won't hurt quite as bad. As you know,
As I'm sure after you guys know, we did a letter way back to the Secretary of Transportation, way back, right afterwards, asking that.
Contract reimbursement.
yeah.
No, that was the Department of Transportation. Because they say Amtrak can't pay for it, can't pay reimburse. So we asked the Secretary of Transportation to directly reimburse the railroad for the money back.
Yeah.
That's now a political thing, so we did the letter on behalf of the riders, way back, was it?
It was July, I think. We did it.
We
maybe-
pass it on,
maybe
we
June.
pass it on
Might
to
have
the
been June.
politics of it because, just that we sent, I think we got a response from them.
Yeah, I mean-
Secretary. It was actually hand-delivered by Congressman Zeldin to the Secretary, as well as all members of the transportation committees in Congress. So it was seen, but we've done our share. We pass it on. We want to pass it on as well to whoever your people are to follow up on it. But that was done back in July.
But obviously Amtrak's pretty firm position is they're not paying for it because they're not allowed to, at least in their view. So we're not going to mess with trying to change their mind. Okay.
What kind of, did they come in, what kind of numbers it actually came out to be? 'Cause
They said they don't know what the final numbers are yet. but they think it's gonna be below the estimate. I mean, it's gonna, I think it was, you know, do you remember what the number was for, it was like,
Was it 60 million or something?
yeah, something like that. It was in the tens of millions, but I can't remember where it was, exactly where it was.
We started scaling back some of this.
Yeah,
things, so we
obviously,
started cutting costs.
obviously, yeah, some of the buses got cut back after about 2 weeks, and then some other things, ferry service got cut a little bit. You know, but they, you know, I mean, the people up in Glen Cove got a free trial of the ferry they want to run, so you know, it's good for them. It's a little expensive for the MTA. Anyway, the other big thing I think is they had an update on East Side access. They tried to put a good face on it. They said, you know, construction is 72% complete in the concourse, 72% overall complete, 41% of the concourse is complete, a lot of other stats. But the fact is, they missed a lot of weekends of work out in the Herald area, and just because Amtrak couldn't provide them with the resources since they were doing this intensive work in the Penn Station. They said they have 11 weekends between now and March available, and they've got to get the signal huts, the CILs, done out there, because if they don't, they're in big trouble as far as implementation of positive train control, because the new signal systems set up for positive train control, and the old one's not. But they're working with Amtrak, the capital construction folks. I mean, that's meaning to say, they're trying to get a new relationship with them. They've got a master maintenance schedule that they put together, so you know what the railroad, what LIRR is doing, what New Jersey Transit, to the degree they're doing anything, is doing, and what Amtrak is doing in the, you know, within the Penn control area. So that's supposedly a help. But the main thing is they're behind on the work they've got to do that requires Amtrak, and you know, they got to catch up with it, and they're not getting the kind of cooperation they need to catch up right now. But those were the major things from the board.
All right, go right into the staff reports.
Yeah. Sure.
You said there was a master, so one of the things that we've been trying to get is the quote-unquote master plan for what Amtrak's doing versus the railroad. You know, like, when are the East River tunnels gonna get done? You know, first we heard 2019, so it's like not even on the boards for 2018.
Yeah.
There's still more work supposedly that they have to do in Penn Station that they were gonna do over the weekends. And so like we're all like.
Right. I think this is a smaller thing than that. This is more sort of a look ahead. You know, I don't know. Do you know anything about that, Hector? But I get the sense that this is a look ahead, maybe, you know, a couple of months ahead. You know, 6 months ahead, something like that.
There's more coordination because you have Amtrak has its continuous repairs. There's the Moynihan work. There's the related work. There's the gateway work. So it's just.
Yeah.
You can't project too far ahead because all this has to be coordinated as we're going along.
Yeah. So it's not that big of a scale thing. It's just not.
Will we see the big scale thing anytime soon? Because I mean, it's. I mean, we had
projects.
there are-
They keep adding projects.
They're
you know,
they're
not finishing anything.
they don't.
Each project has their schedules and their projections of what they need to get done and what they need support wise and track space, and it's just trying to coordinate all that. So
Yeah.
we're like months at a time ahead only, not years in advance.
Yeah. Amtrak is not. They don't share as well, and as, like you said, Jerry, they've got a lot to do. Apparently, according to their chairman, Tony Cosia, they might have to do some more extended track outages in Penn Station, but you know that's
And just for the members,
not from the.
did you bring a copy of it? We
Yeah,
sent a
yeah,
letter
we
to
did. I
Amtrak
did.
asking about that particular issue, if they're gonna, because originally the goal was they said they would do it only on weekends.
Right.
Now they
Yeah.
said they made it during the week. So we sent that directly to Amtrak saying, what is that about? What are you planning to do about, you've done? And, we recently did it, so hopefully we'll get some kind of response from that.
Yeah, we did. We
Holidays, great time.
sent it to the new CEO and president and CEO of Amtrak.
If we get a
who's
response, we'll let you know.
going to be taking over at the end of the year, but we haven't heard anything back on that yet. Staff, the big staff news is that Angela Policio left us to take a job with the city Department of City Planning, which is a really fantastic job. It's basically they're getting into transit, into the effects of transit on the city in a way they haven't before, and she's going to be doing a lot of that, doing a lot of the evaluation of what different development proposals mean for transit and ways of getting more transit and better transit into the. And it's not only New York City transit, it's also the commuter railroads within the city. They're probably more focused on Metro North right now because they're looking to build the Penn Station access and connector down from the Bronx, or the new stations of the Bronx, and then connect into Penn Station. But they're also looking at Queens and Brooklyn. We've been
We have an opening.
yeah, we have an opening. It's one of those. This is sort of a Rubik's cube. Filling openings in the MTA is sometimes sort of a Rubik's cube. So we're hoping to put Bradley into Angela's position because Bradley knows a lot of what Angela knew and would be good in that. But we have to put him in there first before we can clear his position, and then we can advertise that.
And
as
again,
as
to remind
an
everyone,
position.
we now have approval, and we put an ad in for our part-time Long Island.
And we have some.
For our council having a staff
we have
person
some.
dedicated. So that's been posted on the MTA.
Yeah, we've got
It'll
some.
be back and forth.
We've got some resumes. We can, if we have other people, the recruiter said that if we have somebody else that we want to put forward, we can put them forward.
We're just out if you guys know of anybody for a
Yeah,
part-time
so,
job.
yeah, it's a part-time, it's like a half-time position. Mainly, it's officially based at 2 Broadway, but mainly field work on Long Island.
Mostly
Maybe I'll
outreach.
apply.
Yeah.
Mostly outreach to local groups and stuff that I just can't have the time to be out there doing, that
so
we've
it's-
done, and, that kind of stuff.
A lot of it is field work. As far as I think the amount of communication that people got during the Penn Station disruption sort of answered a lot of people's questions. We have not gotten much mail. We've had a few of the usual kind of things. People upset that they're not opening all the cars. People wanting more parking, that kind of stuff. But nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing that would make us shake our head and say, "Gee, I don't know about that."
And so,
Yeah.
we just went through the member stuff. What we do is we have, all our members are involved with other organizations, other groups, so they give a little folks happy in their community. That's what we usually do. And the communities we work with, we get to know.
Announcements are awful, station announcements are awful, and it's just, we need
Maybe
more
for the new
announcements.
people, you may want something with what
Oh,
communities you're
I don't
talking
know.
about.
Well, I don't know where you're all from, sorry.
But they're now with Hector, so we
Okay.
should introduce,
So hi, my name is Ryan Riley. I am a new part of Hector's staff, and we do government and community affairs.
Oh, and you,
I'm Vanessa Locke.
Vanessa?
Yes.
I didn't know Hector had staff.
Happened
As of
yesterday.
Congratulations. Yeah.
So you want to talk about the community you're talking about? maybe
Yeah,
just
well,
introduce yourself.
the community I represent, people with disabilities, and I've done a lot of work, that's why you heard when I came in, I was asking about the Staten Island rail, and people are asking me about the accessibility on the Staten Island rail, so I kind of push those issues because I live in that community, and I do a lot of outreach in and around and advocacy work within the community of people with disabilities, so it's really critical because we all commute, and people don't realize, like, you can put signs from here all the way down the end of the platform. I'm not gonna see any of them because I'm gonna walk right past them. Paint it whatever color you want, it doesn't matter to me. I need announcements. And that's why, you know, I bring that forward, because the announcements are terrible, and we need more announcements. And we need timely announcements, such as, you know, the train's not coming on this track, it's coming on the other track. And there was an incident on the Long Beach line. I guess we had a jumper somewhere in Oceanside, I think.
It was back in the summer.
That was over the.
I was there that day.
Wasn't too long ago.
Yeah, we had to use the other track.
Right, and the announcements weren't, I mean, there was a train parked in Limbrook on platform B, track 1, and there was a train parked there, and that was the train I was trying to get. Is it leaving, is it not leaving, are they gonna open the doors? And there were no announcements, and, you know, I finally figured out, I called the 511 and got through to somebody, and they couldn't, no information. They had no information whatsoever. An hour later, a train came on the other side, and I got on that. But, you know, it took a guess, because I couldn't get any information. An hour, no information.
Just for you guys, whenever the railroad has come to us in the planning stages of a project, Mike has been very helpful in pointing out things that they didn't realize because they're not in that community. When they've come afterwards to demonstrate it, it's kind of too late. So we always ask really to involve us early on, because there are a lot of issues he's brought up that when they were
Mobile
implemented,
ticketing
really
was one of
helped.
the big ones recently. Mobile ticketing was critical, and blind people couldn't use the app. I put a guy I know in touch with your people, and they communicated, and it happened, and it's fully accessible now, it works. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, so Brian?
Brian, you there? Brian?
Yep.
Yep.
Anything from the community about you, that anything you want to talk about? We're gonna go to Hicksville, so you don't have to bring it up now, but anything else you want to bring up from your community out there?
No, nothing local.
Okay.
Nothing locally.
All right, we'll get to your issues. Anything before we go?
Yeah, I just, this is really a community issue for Patchogue. For some reason, quite often there's abnormal dwell times at the trains and the stations. And we have gates that go down that create a big traffic problem for us. It's beyond more than a minor inconvenience at times. And we had a situation once, Hector knows about, because I lodged a formal complaint, where we had a train come in, the gate was down, and because of whatever reason, they weren't gonna move the train because he needed train orders. We were clear of the gate, but yet the gate was still down. There was an ambulance there that was there for 5 minutes and then had to go around a downed gate, which they never do, but life and death, you gotta do what you gotta do. Why that couldn't be resolved, where if the train clears the road, the gate should go up, traffic should flow through there. And for some reason, it doesn't happen. And there's gonna be a major problem. There almost was a major problem that one night. And it's gonna happen sooner or later. And it's just something that really, you know, if you talk about community relations, well, the people of Patchogue are not happy with the railroad, and it's not just because they idle the train by somebody's house. The biggest problem is the abnormal dwell times of some of these trains, and the gates stay down, and the traffic backs up, and it's creating a safety issue, and has been a safety
We have a
issue.
meeting coming up with some of the electeds in the area to talk about both of those issues.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, I'm sure Patchogue's not the only spot. I'm sure there are other places,
But
but
then
this
also,
is,
we have some work coming up in December, November. The signalization from Spion to Montauk, there's gonna be a Carnival weekend with busing, the whole thing. So during that weekend, because we're turning trains at Spion, there's gonna be more trains turning at Patchogue, which is gonna, for that weekend at least.
Yeah.
So we're gonna let people know in advance that this is happening, so at least they can prepare a little better for it.
I read something which I didn't know, that if a gate is down and a pedestrian or a train goes under that gate, that is trespassing and a $500 ticket.
We have, there's areas where people do it all the time, that's a safety hazard, so we have days where our police is there and our safety people advocating for that, and they actually have to grab people. There's women with like strollers, You have to grab them and they get tickets.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing, I'm just wondering if we can get the word out that if they do it, they're gonna get a ticket. Maybe people, less people do it, no one knows it.
I know,
I've been on
every
trains
year,
since
every year, like
25 years, I didn't know
the
that.
stations where we've had accidents and stuff, every year, like, I don't know, 10 or 12 times a year, there'll be a day that they'll be there one morning during the rush hours, just to do that.
But maybe you wanna get the word out that if someone does it, they could be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
may stop someone from doing it if they think there's gonna
Yeah.
be a ticket. If they don't know, they just sneak on.
The funny thing is, the way I found out was I saw it on social media. Somebody got nailed for 50, I
Which is
think it
why-
was $50.
That's why,
Yeah.
that's why I
Yeah,
saw, that's why I
And it's
didn't
like
know
when
that.
a complaint that somebody saw somebody going under, so then the police will go, then they'll be there to try
Yeah.
to intercept people.
Right, and
I mean, this person was running through the late train like everybody else does, and then he got pulled for a ticket, whatever it was.
yeah.
If that's the rule, as long as people know the rule, then, you know. We'll go right into the new business, since with you. Can you give us something on Gateway, since,
Yeah, so Gateway, I talked to somebody that's involved with that, so it's, Amtrak is the one that's doing the work for Gateway. Our role is really just to coordinate the work to make sure to limit the impact on our commuters. The work that's been happening so far has been on the West Side Yard. They're building like a tunnel under our yard. It's gonna connect to Penn. So they're doing that work early before the Moynihan stuff happens, so that it'll be more difficult. So that's what's happening now. They've been working on the tunnels. So our role is just to work with them on what they're doing to minimize the impact to our servers. So we used to have in the yard there, like a shop for something, maintaining the train, so we had to relocate that shop temporarily while they did that work, for example. So that's really what our role is.
all right, so now Amtrak, has volunteered to come give us a full briefing on Gateway. Would you want to coordinate with them and give yours, or just have them do it themselves? You guys want to do it?
It's really their project. They're the ones that can really speak to what they're doing and what they,
All right, so
we have to just monitor and stuff, but, yeah.
All right, so we'll have them in. Let's skip over the second one, because that's us, for you, the fare collection pilot.
I mean, I think, that may be more of a transit or MTA thing.
Oh, wait,
Where they're using e-tics
They're
on
testing-
some,
Right,
the Metro card
Yeah.
they able to use on the rail,
Yeah.
so.
right.
yeah,
I know remember we met Giannis and Chris Bondell, our marketing guys are involved,
yeah,
like Giannis Tacos.
Yeah.
They're involved with that effort, they're trialing. I don't have all the details, but I can get you that.
yeah. Right now, it's an employee-only thing, so it's,
I assume that you would,
they have a,
you would use the e-tick to our mobile ticketing would be, like,
that's,
be able
that's
to use
what
for
it,
that, right?
that's what it is,
So it
yeah.
does
It's a
affect-
scanner the scanner that's mounted on the one turnstile, and right now it's one turnstile at, I think, 17 stations. Not mistaken.
No, I don't have the facts, you know more than me.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, and it's, right now it's employee only. They're doing sort of the pre-test, it's employee
No,
only.
this is the first I'm hearing.
Well, it was just,
Yeah,
it was a turnstile they made now where you could swipe.
Right.
And you don't have to show a ticket on the train?
It's pretty much, yeah, these things are sort of
Right.
add-ons.
But you'd be able to use your mobile number, the mobile app to do it through
Yeah.
software, which is.
Yeah, they can pretty much mount any kind of data input device on the side of a turnstile. So they can mount the beacons that pick up the smart cards, they can mount
Because
the,
the
I mean, kind of like an
You know.
Easy Pass?
yeah,
Well, the
yeah,
problem-
they can do that, they did that in fact
The
before.
problem, what we were concerned with is that if you did a mail-in ride, or both in ticket, you would not be able to,
Right.
Yeah,
you
so now
can't do
they're-
mobile ticketing because you can't use the Metro part of it. So this would resolve it, you can do your mail-in ride and use Samaritan. So someone does a monthly on a mail ride is not gonna use the mobile app because you don't get the Metro part.
You still
So
have
the goal is,
to go out and
hopefully,
buy
is to
it,
get that so that people will.
Right, you gotta buy both.
Right.
and pay more for it, pay a little bit more for it.
Okay, so the,
One other fair
yeah.
question. Have they fully implemented the fact that now you can use credit cards on the train? I see now the conductors are walking around with the little things on their belts and they can actually print receipts
I
and.
think that's system-wide.
Okay, because I remember it was a pilot program, and I remember when they were first doing it, and
No, that
I
was
haven't
not-
heard the announcement in a few months where it's cash only on the trains, and I've seen everybody seems to be having it, so I mean, just want to see, is that fully implemented at this time now, and is it everywhere, everybody's got it, or?
I believe so, but I have to confirm that, but I know
Okay.
last year everybody had to get all the equipment, but by now they should have it.
Okay.
Everyone remembers that one of our longest battles was to get parity between the pre-tax benefit for cars, parking, and the railroad. We had that yearly battle with Senator Schumer helping us, and that just 2 years ago, he finally got it to be permanent and equal. And after years of fighting with him, this is our battle with him together. Word that we're hearing is that in the new budget, the new Republican budget, it's going to be out. Possibly. So we're going to try to be preemptive on that. So we have written letters to all the local, all the
There's sort of
congressional,
a mail merge.
to the congressional delegation, giving them a heads up that we're hearing this, that we want them to, be aware of it, work with us on it. We will again work with
Yes, Brian, I can't hear any of the, on that paper shuffling.
Yeah, on the remember the old the commuter pre-tax benefit that we fought for, Brian? Can you hear me?
I hear you now. It was,
Okay.
something was, I guess, near the phone crackling.
Okay, just that we're hearing word that in the new federal budget that may be knocked out as a tax saving. So we've sent letters to all the congressional delegation. I think I'm going to be seeing, I think Zeldin and Swazi, I think on Monday, so they also talk to them. And we're going to, obviously we're reaching out to Senator Schumer again in his capacity to be out front on it, but we obviously fought for so long for it, we really don't want to lose it now. So just be aware, guys, we're going to be on the campaign again that we thought we had finished with, once again, to save that for making sure that obviously it's always easier to knock out the commuter rail one than the parking one, but we want to make sure we keep them together and equal. So that's what we're out front on. If you hear anything, please let us know if you hear anything in the comments. If we can go back on now some updates on Hicksville.
So
What's
Hicksville,
happening, especially with Brian. Can you hear Brian?
yeah, so Hicksville, they finished the north platform over the summer. It's open. They still have to complete some finishing touches, but it's open. And now they're completing the south platform. Actually, there's a big thing coming up next week, which is the main, where the escalators are now, the staircases are both going to close because they're doing something up there, and it's going to be closed for like 3 weeks. So there's going to be no access from that main point. So you're still going to have the elevator, but those escalators and those staircases are going to be closed.
Both escalator and escalators?
Well, the
and stairs?
escalators are down now, but the staircase is going to be done also in the main plaza area. So the alternate staircase are going to have to be used in the elevator
Wow.
for like 3 weeks.
Okay, when we let people know this.
They're messaging me, putting out the stuff now.
Yeah, please don't do it 2 days before. Because you're talking about, you're talking about going to Thanksgiving. You're going to be carrying packages and going back and forth to family members. That's really not a
But
great
this
time
is
to
all
do that.
part of aggressively. The project has to finish by the spring.
I get it, but Thanksgiving is probably not a great time to close down escalators and stairs. Because those elevators are very small. It's 4 people in an elevator. It's not like a regular elevator.
But we're also putting 2 new elevators.
But they won't be in by then.
Correct.
So I'm talking about that 3 weeks. Okay, not great timing. Wyandanch.
Wyandanch. So Wyandanch, we're going to build a station. We're about to award a contract for that. It's imminent. And then we're working on an agreement with the town. The land, where they're going to build a station, that's their property. So we actually have to enter into an agreement with them to be able to use their land to build the station. So we're finalizing an agreement for that.
So where is it good? It's gonna go near where the...
You know what 7-Eleven is?
Yes.
There's like a big dead area
Oh, so
there.
you're still keeping at that end of the train?
No, no,
You're
no.
moving it down?
On the other side. It's on the garage side of the 7-Eleven. You know where the garage is? Going to the platform, there's, in the middle, there's like a big dead space that's unused. That's where the station's gonna be, right in the middle there.
So how far from that track?
It's gonna be next to the track.
How big were 7-Eleven
If you
where
park in the garage,
7-Eleven where the new stores were built?
Yeah.
Over there, the new ones, huh?
There's like there's like dirt stuff. People are parking there now, but it's not really official parking. Right on the garage side of 7-Eleven, it's in that area right there.
And do we know what's gonna be in the waiting room that's different from now?
We have some renderings
Will
of
it
this
be
shit.
heat? Will it be, I mean, what's gonna be in there? Because right now it's no air conditioning, it's fans that don't work. I mean,
No, it's gonna have to have-
we're gonna upgrade it really well
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
point?
And there's also gonna be a pedestrian overpass there with elevators in the middle of the station there.
It's gonna be fully accessible from the
Extremely
start.
accessible. So we're gonna be starting that work probably in November. the station building, and we have to complete it. Our goal is to complete it by August, which is when the double track has to be completed.
Will the ticket machines be inside now or is it outside?
So that I don't know.
Can you check into that? We've had a lot of people in that neighborhood who don't want to be outside taking out their money at night over there. So if there's any way it can be a little safer in some way. We've talked about that in the past, now that you're redoing it, maybe something.
Is the station house gonna be open during the day? During the
Well, right
night,
now it
during the
is.
night?
Right now it's a pretty late open station as of now. I assume that's not going to change, but right now where.
I think we scaled it back, because we're getting a lot of issues from the town and developer of, there's a lot of activities happening.
You're always going to hear from the town developers if they don't like training. You can't base it on that. Second track?
Oh, same thing,
Hector,
yes.
I just wanted to go back to Hicksville. I didn't know you were going to jump into the other station, so. Feedback that I suggested going into the construction was the distance between the different monitors that call up the next train.
Uh-huh.
It appears that they're actually further apart than they were even before. My recommendation was actually if we could add in one or bring them closer to each other. If you're anywhere in the middle of those monitors, you can't see it. I mean, they must be, it seems like 100 yards away. I'm sure I'm exaggerating, but even with 20/20 vision, you can't read those things that they're so far away. In addition to that, and this is my own personal feedback, and I've seen a lot of social media complaints about it too, is that they used a new kind of, I think, coloring scheme or font or something for those boards. It's worse than the old ones. I mean, the old ones were yellow on black, which I think even studies have shown that the best visibility, our license plates are that, construction signs are that. They went to try to use, I guess, the color scheme of like green being Babylon and purple being Ronkonkoma, whatever. It's nearly impossible to read on those monitors, so I don't know if this is going to be something that's going to roll out for the future stations, but it's really poor. And, I mean, social media there's tons of complaints on it about it. And what made it worse was the first point that I made. They're further apart, and they made it harder to read. So do you have any feedback on that? And I wanted to bring up another point.
No, I have to look into that, but yes, what's the other point? Because I'll go back to you on that one.
Okay. And then, I know you said the project is going through the spring. Waiting rooms, when are they going to be built? Because right now it's just a 2-foot frame. No walls, no nothing, and with winter approaching, are we going to be without waiting rooms on the platforms?
Yeah, no, I don't know exactly when they're going to be finished, but I'll find out.
There seems to
Well, it would be a shame if they finish them in the spring when they're mostly needed in the winter.
There seems to be no movement on those, on the working on those. It's the same plastic, things you walk through since the beginning.
But you can't even do that. There's no wall, there's nothing. There's just a footing. There's a footing that's, maybe
They're going to be like
8
glass.
feet wide by 8 feet long. That's
They asked you to
that's
put
all
the
there
glass
is.
in before it
There's no
snowstorm.